but you have to, the unspeakable truth are this. A majority of law-abiding citizens are at the mercy of a few thousand, 10,000, 50,000, maybe 500,000 nationwide, of people who exist independent of our rules, laws, and manners, right? We have defined a heinous lifestyle, homelessness, as a lifestyle choice, right? And I'm saying, except from like the tiny exceptions, right? I'm talking largely men. When you see these pictures, they're mostly men. They're not hanging out like the jovial transients and hobos that you used to see in cartoons. These are strung out, manic, unfriendly, aggressive people, and you're lucky if they're unconscious, because then they won't hurt you. I walk this city all the time. I drive up in the morning. I count them. I recognize them. I know them. They prefer the shelter. They don't prefer shelters to the streets because you can't do drugs and score drugs in shelters. That's why they're out there. That's a choice, right? You can't bring your property into the shelter either, because they don't allow that. So you prefer to be outside with your bags of stuff and do your drugs. All you got to do is spend one afternoon in New York City and you see the reality, and it flies in the face of everybody there that tells you you have to be more compassionate, because their compassion is allowing this to happen, throwing money at that. They're like the tourists that give the healthy beggar with the little dog money, and that beggar is in front of your house. And it's like, I want to go to your damn house where you are in Germany or Spain and do the same thing and see how you feel, because all you do is you keep these people here making money. I do have a solution, and it's a progressive solution. Give the homeless what they want, because there is no way you can have a conversation with them. You can't reason with the unreasonable. Give them what they want, but not in the city. The city allows this to happen. Move it out onto government property and let them run it. Camp away. Give them the autonomy to truly run their lives into the ground, harm each other. Don't harm us anymore. That's the only thing you can do, because it can't get any worse than it is now. You got to move them to a place where they can live their lives.
So federally funded opium dens where the homeless can kill each
I volunteer as mayor. I will be mayor of Opium Town.
Jesse, before I just wanted to point this out. Of course, you can talk about whatever you want, but in San Francisco, they distributed 262 tents across 6 locations. The tents were a total of $16.1 million. That's about $61,000 per tent. You can get a regular tent for like $300, a good one for like $300.
You can walk into REI and get a tent on sale for $300. But the city of San Francisco is charging $61,000 a tent to the taxpayers. That's crazy. The San Francisco officials also used taxpayer dollars to buy liquor and beer for the homeless people. And then they got caught. Look what they're doing in all of these non-for-profits. The profits are all going to the scam artists that run them. They take in $10 million to help the homeless. And what do they do with the money? This woman went on a shopping spree to Tiffany's, Ferragamo, Bergdorf Goodman. I know you're shaking your head. You've been there a few times, Judge. I mean, this is some of the nicest luxury shopping anybody will ever do. And another guy stole about $5 million, and he does kickbacks to contractors and then gives his family members the run of the place. It's all a huge scam. They actually don't want to reduce homelessness. They want to keep the people on the streets so they can fleece the taxpayers. It's all a big grift. Why are there so many homeless people right now? Well, they emptied the prisons, they shut down the economy, they brought in all these illegal aliens, and they've decriminalized drugs. So what do you expect to happen? I understand Greg's point. I'd like to speak directly to the homeless people right now. Take some money, go get an hour in a hotel, take a shower, do a shave, then go to the barbershop, get a little haircut, then go to a thrift shop, buy new clothes, get a bus ticket, and get the hell out of the city and away from all these drugs. Then get yourself a job, go to sleep, read a book, take a walk, do some push-ups, drink some water, save a little money from each paycheck, and then call your parents. Okay, because your parents will come take you in.
None of that will ever happen.
That's great advice.
I do think that, Geraldo, we both just feel you can be a compassionate person and also feel completely helpless as you walk around.
Yeah, because the bitter irony, Dana, is that the more services you provide, the more homeless people there'll be. Plus, who doesn't want to live in San Francisco or Venice Beach? You know, I remember during Ed Koch's administration, they used to give out bus tickets. Where do you want to go? Any place but here. And Jesse's idea is not that outrageous. The whole notion, and it goes with Greg's idea of not in the city. any place you want to go, we'll give you a way to get there, not unlike Texas and Florida are doing right now. But I think the idea of some kind of encampment, some kind of idyllic place someplace, but you have to have some payback. You have to have some responsibility. For instance, my big beef with progressives is they demand nothing of the recipient. Why not sobriety? Why not drug abuse counseling? Why not getting yourself cleaned up? You know, you can't have anyone evolving out of that sorry condition unless you give them some responsibility.
But they don't want that. I mean, when I used to sentence someone, I would say to them, do you want to go to jail for a year, or do you want to go to rehab and straighten your life out? They'd rather go to jail so they can come out and do what they do and do what they like.
Rehab is tough, and families several families, several thousands of families across the country put their loved one in rehab multiple times, drain their retirement savings, and still end up trying to, with sleepless nights, wondering where their children are.
What Carol is saying though is like, in the old days, they actually had, the institutions were out of the city because the city is stressful for sane people. Imagine being like loud, you're homeless, you have a mental illness, you're drug addicted, loud noises, buses, trains, everything. Why are you here? When you could actually be there's a reason why people go to nature, and that is something that could be done. But again, you sound like you're speaking out of lack of compassion by saying move them out. No, we're saying that they're not helping themselves; they're destroying themselves and others.
If Trump had bought Greenland, it would have been a perfect place.
Yes,
to put them.
Except it's not green though.
It's not?
No, Greenland is ice and Iceland is green.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right, now we know. All right, well, coming up next, a big debate on that Democrat whose home was broken into. And remember this, only her guns were stolen, what she says happened.
Woods.
Between a rock